wanted to take an action that showed he was repenting for what he did. He wanted to give the money back to them.
Thank you, sir. I truly appreciate the filling in. So what was bothering Judas? Was it his spirit? Was it his soul? Or was it his conscience? Is there a difference? Is there a difference between conviction of a spirit and conviction of our conscience?
Conviction of the spirit is a higher level. Our conscience is not something everyone has.
Everybody has it. Yeah, everyone can get to a point where you've done something and you just know. It's good. And will God use the conviction of the conscience for his good? Yeah, you know what? Because otherwise, how would we come to Christ? Yeah, we would be stuck on ourselves if we just didn't feel for anything. Then we wouldn't move, we wouldn't change, we wouldn't ever become better. I'm glad that God will use whatever tools are at his disposal to be able to get done what it is that he desires to get done. He's just faithful that way. Good. Thank you for doing that for me. I'm going to jump, if you don't mind. I'm going to jump back to, I'm going to jump up to verse 31. And where we were, Jesus was about to be delivered into the hands of sinful men. But now we're going to move to the section where he has already been taken. They are treating him terribly. The very moment that he was put into the hands of these men, they began treating him shamefully. It wasn't just humiliation, but they inflicted pain upon him. They treated him as if he were absolutely nothing. Do you remember people in school who used to do that? They would go to the person who they had gotten in. It was not everybody, but there were always that one or two people that would pull out that person who was, and here's the word, who was meek. Now, in grade school, a person who we call meek, we would also call Say the nerd. There you go. The class creep. Okay. Yeah. I know. Yeah. And they wouldn't just call them meek or the nerd or the creep. They would be the weak person. Person generally would not stand up for themselves. Okay, they were quiet. They were non-assuming. They just wouldn't fight back. And here we have Jesus. And guess what? He's meek. He's mild. He won't fight back. He won't defend himself. Everything that happened, he's just allowing it to happen. Everything that's coming to pass, he's just allowing it to come to pass. Now, the bully that picked on those kids would pick on them because they believed that this person couldn't fight back. Or they just wouldn't. But most of the cases, they would pick on that person because I'm stronger than you are. Okay. I'm bigger than you are. And you're not going to, if it comes down to it, you can't defeat me. But that's not why Jesus was being meek. That's not why Jesus didn't fight back. Why didn't Jesus fight back? He could. So he could have done it. But look, Jesus was a man on a mission. I'm on a mission. And what you are right now, person who just hit me, what you are right now, person that is trying to goad me by mocking me, what you are right now, person that just spit on me, you're nothing but a distraction. Nothing but a distraction to the mission that I have been set on. And I could allow you to detour me, but that's not why I've come. No, I've come to fulfill my mission. And in order to fulfill my mission, what I've got to do is just keep on walking. I've got to just keep on walking. I can't get swayed either way. Y'all, do you know what? We as Christians, even today, we got a mission. And there's all kinds of distractions along the way. And so often, we get pulled off on a detour. Takes us off our game. In fact, sometimes when it takes us off our game, it makes us somebody who we never were supposed to be. That we paint a different picture of the God that we serve. If Jesus had fought back, wouldn't this be a different story? If they talked about Jesus and he cussed them out. Because y'all, some of us, we would have found some choice words. Some of us would have fought back. But Jesus just kept on. And his motivation for all of this, what was his motivation? 4-letter word. Love. His motivation was love. Y'all, he had nothing else to gain. He had everything to lose. So he just stayed on track. Verse 30 in Matthew 27 says, and they spit upon him, and they took a reed and smote him on the head. And after, verse 31, and after they had mocked him, they took the robe off of him and put his own raiment on him and led him away to crucify him. hope I get this right, but if you would, look in your Bibles. This is not a text that we oftentimes look at, but it's, I'm going to have a hard time saying it, Habakkuk. Okay? I'm going to give you a minute because it's Old Testament. Okay, very good. There you go. There you go.
That's the only way I can say it.
Chapter 1 and verse 16. Because, I just jumped ahead of myself here for a second. I did. I jumped ahead of myself. I got to read something else here before I go there. Okay, so look. Let me go forward. Back to Romans. Keep your finger there, though. Keep your finger there. Verse 32. And as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. Him they compelled to bear his cross. Once again, the crucifixion. Two things that were the desire in crucifixion. Two things were that you were trying to do in crucifixion, that Rome was trying to do. Well, y'all, Rome did not invent crucifixion, but Rome perfected crucifixion. Okay? And it was designed to maximize pain, maximize the hurt, to maximize the torture. It was to do two things. One, to take that person as close as you could get them to death without killing them. But two, also, it was designed to physically kill them. To take all of their energy, to utilize that. Because when we get them on the cross, after we scourge them, after we take them through and then we put them on the cross, then we're going to, the actual crucifixion part, that was the scourging, the actual crucifixion portion is where we put them in a situation, and think about this, generally speaking, and once again, scientists will disagree oftentimes one from another, but why would you think that Jesus died? The physical reason. Here's the thing. My father told me this one time. He said, people say, well, he died of natural causes. Yeah. Now, we kind of know what they mean, but what he said is, everybody dies of something. They say it's natural causes, but natural causes mean that just all of a sudden they just stop breathing. And something happened because Jesus died on the cross. Now, what do you believe is the reason? What was happening that caused him to die? From a medical perspective, what would you say? You've heard it before on TV. Well, heartbroken. From a medical reason, say it again. Okay, his body was tore up. And he did bleed an extraordinary amount, but all that did was weaken him. His body was torn up, but it was not broken. Okay, but he was torn up. There was that as well, a spiritual death when he became sin, as it says that he became the manifestation of sin, took out his wrath on sin. But think about this. Here's what's happening. Once again, remember the breathing? How do you and I are breathing freely right now. There's nothing restricting our breathing. But when you are stretched out on the cross, the only way you're going to be able to do it is to pull yourself up in order to take a breath, to get enough breath in your lungs, and then you have to slink back down. Okay, now think about this. He was nailed, they had nails in his feet. But the feet are slightly bent. The legs are slightly bent. That means in order to get that, you're going to have to push up. Excruciating pain every time you push up. Excruciating pain every time you pull up. And that effort that you put into doing that is great. To be able to pull yourself up to take one breath. But what had he gone through before? The scourging, which was to do what? To weaken them. And getting him to the point where so where is the energy? And so in order to take a breath, you have to go through all of that. Use all that energy just to get one breath. And that pulling to do that, how do you do that? I remember this. We were in gym. They had the Presidential Physical Fitness Award. And one of the things you had to do on the Presidential Physical Fitness Award is that you had to pull yourself up above a bar and keep your chin up there. Okay, you keep that chin up there, and then they would stop the stopwatch and see how long you could stay up there, and you had to stay at a certain level to be able to get it. And here's what I noticed: there was a point in time when everybody was on there that when you get up there and you could hold it for a while, and then your elbows started doing this. And as much as you want, and you keep trying and you keep willing yourself. I'm willing myself to stay up here, but I can't. And your whole body begins to convulse right there, because there's a certain point in time when you physically just can't do it anymore. Imagine if you had to do that for one breath. And then when you wanted to breathe again, you got to go through that whole sequence all over again just to get a breath. And how long did Jesus do this? 6 hours. Now, you know what? Jesus died quickly. Now, let me say this. Jesus gave up his life within a shorter period of time. There are records of people being crucified in that going to process for 72 hours. It's a long time. Now, in order to speed up the process, Rome, who had perfected this process, would take essentially a sledgehammer and break their legs. Okay? Now, in the case when they went to Jesus and things started getting dark, as we're going to read here, that they told him, listen, go ahead and break their legs. And so that the other two criminals, the malefactors on either side, they did break their legs. And what do you think that was for?
They couldn't lift up.
You can't lift up. So we need to speed up this process. But they didn't break Jesus's why? It was definitely it was prophesied. He was already dead. What did they do instead? They pierced him in the side. And what happened? Blood and water flowed. Okay? So it said he was already dead. So watch this. Let's read through this. And as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name, and compelled him to bear his cross. And when they were come to the place called Golgotha, which is to say the place of the skull, they gave him vinegar to drink mingled with gall. And what do we say the purpose of that was? To deaden the pain. I'm sorry. To make the pain last longer. To make you be able to bear the pain longer. So you can bear the pain longer. Because it wasn't that we feel sorry for you. It was to anesthetize somewhat so that we can continue the torture a little bit longer. Now, when Jesus did, he did not want to be anesthetized. And so when he tasted what it was, he refused anymore. Why? Because he wanted to bear the full brunt of sin for you and for me, not a watered down version. Y'all have tasted Sprite and they put some water in it, and just does not taste right. Okay, he said, nope, I want pure Sprite. Okay, I want it all. And so when he tasted of it, he wouldn't drink. And they crucified and parted his garments, casting lots. Now, I'm never gonna get that part I was trying to get to because I keep there's so much meat in here. Casting lots. What does that mean? On his garments. Okay, remember there was a tunic. There was a part that he wore that it was full upon him. It was one piece that was on there. They took that off, and they didn't want that damage. So they said, "Listen, we'll keep these." And so what they did is they were betting on it at his feet. At his feet, playing games. Well, actually, we'll see if I can stay on track long enough here myself, because I keep distracting myself. But we're going to see at least what some did, and the desire for all. But so you're right. But watch, they were playing games at his feet. Y'all, people are still coming to the church and playing games at his feet. What they took the moment. You and I know that it was a serious moment. It was a grave moment. It was an incredible moment that they were living through right then. And they took this incredible moment and they treated it with levity. I'm sure they were laughing and they were just playing around, and here they were in the midst of something that was life altering, that was changing the focus of how the world operated, really, what people's roles in the world, who we are, and changed everything. Everything changed at the cross. But there they were in the place of great seriousness, playing games. They didn't know. And in fact, what did Jesus say? Forgive them, because they know not what they do. We can't really say that, though. Why? Because we've been told. Guess what? We've been told over and over and over and over. In fact, it may be because of the repetition that we have begun to take it a little bit light. Yeah, I know what he's going to say. He died, he was buried early on Sunday morning, he rose from the dead. I know. No, that is a defining moment in your life. Do you know that we live time is split by the birth of Jesus. There's the time BC and AD. But the time in your life is split based on the BC period in your life. I don't want to say the AD, but that doesn't necessarily fit in that case. But BC, before Christ. Your life before Christ. Y'all know what AD stands for, don't you? It is an very good. Anno Domini, okay, or Anno Domini. It is, and I'm glad I'm gonna keep saying that because I don't want people. The quick answer is always the people always say is what? After death. Okay, right, and that one would think if it's before Christ and then after, it makes sense, but it's not correct. Anno Domini, which means what? In the year of our Lord. In the year of our Lord. So there was a period before Christ, and then there began the period in the year of our Lord. That makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, because now in his existence and from that point on, so BC and AD, but we also have a BC, and here these people were living in the still in the BC of their life, and the question is, what's going to become of them? Which is the same question that we have. 36, and sitting down, they watched him there, and set up over his head his accusation. Okay, let us tell what this man is being crucified for. What did he do to cause him to be here? And his accusation said, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." Is he Jesus? Is he the King of the Jews? So their accusation is, say it again. Their accusation? Is it an accusation? No, it's the truth. He is being crucified, and he is accused of being truthful. Which means he is not guilty. He's an innocent man. Still, there he is hanging. And it says, then there were two thieves crucified with him, one on the right hand and the other on the left. And they that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads. Y'all know how people do. Okay. Yeah, shaking the head. He ought to be ashamed of himself. I remember on Michigan Road, you remember there was a Kroger in Hallville on Michigan Road one time, and I remember we were. Is it okay? Yeah. Yes. Michigan. I said, that's a road. Street, Michigan Street. Yes, and I remember this just like it was yesterday, that we were coming out of the Kroger's. Daddy was still in school. I don't know how old I was at the time, but I remember coming out, and I saw the police had this little boy, and he was sitting down, and he was just crying, and they had him in handcuffs. And he was a little kid. He was a young kid. He wasn't too much older than me, and so we figured that he was probably shoplifting or something in there, and they got him. And and I remember he was there, and everybody that walked by him, and I remember seeing people doing just what they did there. But he might have done something. I don't know. We don't know. I wasn't at trial. I didn't get to go. But we know that Jesus did not. But that's how people who were passing by looked at him and treated him. And here's what they said, verse 40, and saying, "Thou that destroyest the temple and buildeth it in 3 days, save thyself." I got to read that because I want. And saying, "Thou that destroyest the temple and buildest it in 3 days, save thyself. If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross." Who's speaking there? Think about this. You've heard that before. Who spoke? No, they did say it before, but there's somebody else. Say it again. They were saying it in their own words. Satan, when? In the wilderness. Y'all remember? If you are who you say you are, then bow down and worship me. If you are God, then turn these rocks into bread. You're so hungry. If you are who you say you are. He's still talking. He talked too much. But that's what he does. If we could get some church members as faithful as Satan is to his mission, because the brother be working. All right. At least he got a good work record. Yeah. Well, yeah. Look. So look, he's saying, if you are, come down. Why would he say that? Why? Now, once again, and I'm saying this is Satan inspired through whomever, okay? But why would he want somebody to say that? Why would he want for him to prove that he is God? To come down. Listen, what was he telling him to do? If you are, come down. Do what? Save yourself. If you save yourself, then you won't die. But y'all, if he didn't die, then what? What does that mean to you and me? Yeah. And then it says this, likewise meaning along those same lines, also the chief priests mocking him with the scribes and the elders said, he saved others. Himself he cannot save. If he be the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him then. Yeah, you know what that was? That right there was a double dog dare. I double dog dare you to come down. You know, now there's a dare, and then there's the double dog dare. And the intensity level in the double dog dare is so much more that if you won't stand up to the double dog dare, then you ain't nobody. You ain't nothing. And so Jesus, I double dog dare you to come down. See, it's interesting because this phraseology, if you are who you say you are, that was used by Satan, that we're saying that when he whispers it, he makes us think we're doing it for our, watch what he did. He makes them think they're doing it for their own purposes, but they're simply just carrying out his suggestion. He trusted in God, let him deliver him now, if he will have him. For he said, I am the Son of God. The thieves also, thieves also, which were crucified with him, cast the same with his teeth. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour. Tell me about this darkness. Why do you think there was darkness? Is the darkness significant? Jay? Yeah. Oh, okay. That's it. Look, what is he doing? What is happening to him right now on the cross? He is dying. You know what? We have this indication on our telephones. Those of you, everybody who has a cell phone. It's an indication. It tells you how much energy you have in it. And when it gets down to a lower level, there's a certain point in time when it does what? It dies. And when it dies, what does your screen look like? It's just dark. It's black. Okay? I remember this. We would go camping and we have a flashlight. And now the flashlight didn't just get to 0% and then go out. What would the flashlight do? It dims. It dims, and progressively, it goes out until the point in time when it is done. And then what do we say about the batteries? Oh, the batteries are dead. Jesus is dying. And as he's dying, the light of the world is going out. The sun, S-O-N, is not shining like he had been. Why? Why isn't the sun, S-O-N, shining? Yeah, there you go. He is becoming sin. Now, from the 6th hour, there was darkness over, now here's the key word, look, all the land. Y'all, I've been here talking to my wife, who is at work on the north side of town, and it's dark and raining while I'm here. And up there, she's talking about, oh, yeah, the sun's shining here. But according to this, it was dark over all the land. That means in China, who didn't have nothing to do with this as far as they were concerned. I didn't crucify nobody. I didn't do nothing. Were they guilty of Jesus' death as well? Okay, people in the nether regions of the continent of Africa, guilty. And the darkness was everywhere. Why? Because he is the light of the world. If the sun decided right now to stop shining, it wouldn't just stop shining in Indianapolis. Okay? So it says that darkness was over all the land unto the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Now, this is where I need you to go back to where we were at before, in Habakkuk. Habakkuk, chapter 1, and look at verse 13. It says, thou art of purer eyes. Oh, that's okay. Thou art of purer eyes than to behold evil, and canst not look upon iniquity. Wherefore, lookest thou upon them that deal treacherously, and holdest thy tongue when the wicked devour the man that is more righteous than he. Look, once again, your eyes are purer than to behold evil. What is that saying? Does anybody have a different translation? I can pull up another one here. Verse 13. I'm looking at the English Standard Version.
Verse 13. Your eyes are too pure to approve evil, and you cannot look favorably on wickedness. Why then do you look favorably on those who act treacherously? And why are you silent when the wicked destroy those who are righteous?
Okay, good. And the first part is what I wanted to focus on. So Jesus asked a question. Why have you forsaken me? And the answer was, my eyes are too pure to look on evil. My Aunt Fanny used to say it this way. She said, God don't like ugly. And to God, sin is ugliness. And at that point in time, Jesus had become ugly to him. Okay? And I'm not talking about a vain kind of ugly. I'm talking about let's break it down. What does that mean? If he had become sin, he was what to God? Dead. Because sin is, the wages of sin is death. He was everything that God detests. Everything. Yeah, big sins and little sins. Now, that's just me talking here because we like to make those distinctions. Okay, because we have different classifications of sin. Okay, there are some socially acceptable sins. There are this is us speaking. There are some sins that are not that bad, and so God is not going to look or little white lies would fall into. They're kind of socially acceptable. No, you understand. I'm being facetious as I say this. But then there are the big sins. Whoa! Don't ever do that. Look, you don't have to look at me askance because I ain't never done nothing like that. That's what we do. Y'all know it's true. We do that. Socially acceptable sins. Look, it's okay for us to live together now because everybody's doing this. It's okay. And now let me take another step, because it ain't just that we live in the same house. No, we sleep in the same bed and we act like married folk. That's about, yeah, that means socially acceptable. It's all right. We've been together. She's the only one I love and I'm the only one she loves. And then if she cheats on me or if he cheats on me, I have every right. So we make it socially acceptable. Now then there are other sins that we know, the ones that are little sins, because a little one is that little white lie, or y'all just a little bit of gossip. Okay, it was just a little guy, and yes, ma'am. Say it again. Yep, a little pregnant is, yeah, just a little pregnant. Yeah, and a little. And if you're a little sinful, you still, okay? Because God doesn't make those distinctions. He's not making those distinctions. He's not trying to put us in the category of, well, you know what?
He lives in the old world. Where in the world?
And to God, he's the same God yesterday, today, and forever. Right.
He's not looking at it. He's not living in the new world.
And maybe we need to talk to him about that. Lord, we need you to get with the program, the new program that we set. Okay? Because no, he's saying this is the way that it is. There are no levels. There are no little sins. There are no, y'all, if you are just one of those persons who told a little lie, you get put in the same category as bin Laden. Those are big sins, right? Why are you here? How do you get in with me? I ain't saying as much as you know. God is not making that kind of distinction. He is, what's that? Yeah. My sins are better. Yeah, you got bigger sins than me, and I'm not like you. I mean, it's kind of what we do. It's kind of the way that we have gotten. And so, but he's saying he looks at sin as sin. And that's it. Now, here's the thing about it. The person, if in their life that all they ever did wrong was to tell one little white lie. Just a little one. In fact, to tell that lie, and it was only told to one other person, didn't even have a chance to spread. Guess what? That little white lie is enough to keep them out of heaven eternally. Because guess what? God doesn't grade on a curve. And he doesn't take extra credit. That's right. That's right. Because look, when the assignment, when the due date comes, you just turn in your paper. All right? And it is what it is.
You can ask Satan to try to save you.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And he'll say, oh, yeah, come on down. Let's talk about that. Come on down. Let's talk about that. Yeah. Right. So why hast thou forsaken me? Because I can't even look on the evil that you are representing right now. Now, is it a good thing for us? It's a good thing for us that he did that, because we needed that. Now watch this. 47 says, some of them that stood there, when they heard that, said, this man calleth for Elias. They heard what? Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. And they said, he calling after Elias. Now watch it. This is how folks are. And straightway, one of them ran, straight one ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink. And look, the rest said, let us see whether Elias will come to save him. Now, you know that's the church folk right there. No. Let's see what happens. Okay? They testing. It just we just keep on trying. Yeah, when are we convinced? Yeah, I mean that becomes, there's something that's happened, but still they have not gotten to that point, and they're still seeing it. And now watch this. Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. That's significant. What's significant about that? What did Jesus do? What did Jesus do that the Romans didn't do? There you go. Sister Lord, I see blood trickling down your She biting her tongue. Yeah, he gave it up. Rome thought they were taking his life. The Jews thought they were taking his life. But no man took his life. He gave it up. I yield. You don't get to do this to me for 72 hours. I'm yielding up. Why? Because what I have come to do, the mission that I am on, it is finished. It's finished. And because it's done, I can go home. When the war is over, there's no need for soldiers to stay in the foreign land. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah. Well, we know they did that. Yeah, we know.
He put himself in that predicament.
Right. Sometimes you should just keep your mouth shut. And, you know how we do. Sometimes it's better just to, we'll always find something, because you are never going to satisfy people. No matter, think about it, Jesus did nothing but good all the days of his life. nothing but good. Now, some people didn't perceive it as good because they had their own motives. But people were flocking from everywhere, drawn to the light of the world. 51. Behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom. In twain means what? In two. Yeah, in two parts. Okay? But how was it torn? From the top to the bottom. Yeah. Look, watch this. This here. This is probably about maybe a quarter of an inch in thickness. I'm exaggerating at that. Do you know how thick the veil was? 9 inches. Yeah. It was a thick material. Why? Because it was separating what? The Holy of the Holies. Okay? Okay, it separated the Holy of the Holies from the rest of the world. Okay? The only way to get in there was through that veil. But it ripped. Okay? Something that thick. It ripped. And how did it rip? Who got up there and did that? Okay? So it say it again. Yeah, so this is God. This is a God thing happening. It didn't accidentally happen. Where, the stories I used to tell mom and daddy when something broke. I don't know. I was coming down and I looked and then there it was. Yeah. It just happened. And I'm just as surprised as you are. Yeah. Yeah. So you can't even claim that with this. This thing ripped from the top down to the bottom. Now, that's significant that now it is opened up. It has been torn open. Why? What makes that significant? We have access to go to God ourselves. Yes. Before, who could go to in the Holy of Holies? Only the priests. Only the priests were worthy. But what has changed? Okay, what would happen if you went in? We weren't pure enough, and as a result of going in there, what would happen to you? You would die. But now, why is it now you can go in? And the wages of sin have been paid. Okay? The price has been paid. Y'all, everything is different. Everything is different now that Jesus has come. I'm going to stop right there. And let me mark this so I'll remember. Everything has changed. Let's go to the Lord. Master, we come into your very presence right now, Father. Lord, always giving you thanks. Oh, we're so grateful that you are such a loving God to us, that you love us, Master. That you love us better than we love ourselves. You care for us more than we care for ourselves. Thank you, sir. Lord, right now as we study this lesson, study your passion, study about your suffering, study about your willingness to die for us. Let us be transformed every time we study you. Let us be transformed. Let us become more like you, Lord. Let us walk like you and talk like you, Father. Let us hear